What happens when the guy who can beat anyone with a single punch meets the guy whose power just never stops growing? This isn't just a fight. This is a math problem from hell. It's the ultimate paradox. The man who broke his limits versus the man who has no limits. Today, we're settling the debate that has raged across the internet for years. Saitama, the King Baldy versus Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. And trust me, the answer isn't a simple answer, as most of you would think. This isn't about who can punch harder. It's a race between fundamentally different kinds of infinity. So grab your popcorn because we're about to dive deep into the anatomy of absolute power. Alright, let's start with the man, the myth, the legend, who's got his powers from a workout your gym teacher would call a decent warm-up. Saitama. In the world of One Punch Man, every living thing has something called a limiter. Think of it like a level cap in a video game, put there by a mysterious being called God to stop anyone from getting so powerful they lose their minds. Most heroes and monsters just have a really high level cap, but Saitama didn't just raise his level cap, he deleted the code. He broke his limiter completely. How? By doing his ridiculously simple workout every single day. For a ordinary out of work guy with a, and I quote the series, smartest scientist, no special potential whatsoever, this was a near-death experience every single day. And that's the secret. The less potential you have, the easier it is to hit your breaking point. Now, it's a super important to understand this isn't the same as monsterification. Monsters in One Punch Man are born from obsession. A guy loves crabs, so he becomes a crab monster. You get the idea, but becoming a monster doesn't remove your limiter. It just gives you a big DOC with a higher level cap. Saitama, on the other hand, is playing a completely different game. He's the fist that rebelled against God. For most of the series, we thought Saitama's power was a static, boring absolute. The creator even said he started the story at his peak, and then the fight with Cosmic Gato happened. When Saitama got truly deeply emotional, filled with rage and grief over his friend Genos, something insane happened. His power started to grow. Not just grow, but grow exponentially. The graph in the manga shows a curve that gets steeper and steeper. He wasn't just getting stronger, he was getting stronger faster. This is the game changer. His power isn't just a number, it's a self-perpetuating rocket engine fueled by his feelings. Gato, a genius who could literally copy Saitama's power, was left in the dust. Because by the time he copied Saitama's strength for one moment, Saitama was already a million times stronger in the next. So Saitama isn't just strong, he's a walking, talking violation of the rules of reality, whose potential for growth is quite literally off the chart. Now, let's talk about the other side of this cataclysmic coin, Broly. The Dragon Ball Super version, of course. The one who's less of a screaming psychopath and more of a gentle giant with catastrophic anger management issues. The Dragon Ball universe runs on Ki, a life force you can control and shoot out of your hands. Power-ups come from transformations, which are basically massive multipliers on your base strength. Super Saiyan is a 50 times boost and it just goes up from there. Broly, however, is a mutant, an anomaly, born with a power level so high that King Vegeta got jealous and yeeted him off of to a desolate wasteland called Vampa. For decades, his only sparring partner was his dad, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly top-tier training. Broly's power comes in stages, each one tied to him, losing more and more of his cool. First, you have the Wraithful state. This is where he taps into the power of a great ape without actually turning into a giant monkey. It's about 10 times power boost, and it's the first sign that he's about to go on a rampage. Then Frieza does what Frieza does best. He's a toxic boss. He murders Broly's dad and blames it on Goku, triggering Broly's transformation to a classic Super Saiyan. At this point, all sanity has left the building. Finally, we get Super Saiyan full power. The iconic green hair, the bulging muscles, and a power level that just keeps going up. This is the form that let him fight on par with Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta and literally break the fabric of dimensions. But here's the crucial difference between him and Saitama. Vegeta says it himself during the fight. Damn it, he learns as he fights. Broly's growth is reactive. He gets stronger because he's fighting someone stronger. He needs an external push to reach new heights. He's the ultimate underdog, constantly rising to meet the challenge. This makes him an absolute monster, but it's also his greatest weakness. His power adapts to his opponent. Saitama's power, when triggered, generates itself. Broly's power is a responsive. Saitama is a staple. Okay, enough theory. Let's talk cold hard facts. What have these guys actually done? On Saitama's resume, his serious punch squared clash with Gato created a hole in space, wiping out a massive field of stars and galaxies from view. That's a multi-galaxy level feat, and that's was him trying. How about when he's not? He's once sneezed a serious sneeze. It blew away entire gaseous mass of Jupiter, a planet 1,300 times bigger than Earth. He literally stripped a gas giant naked by accident. His durability, he's tanked his own multi-galaxy level punch, bathed in magma, and survived the vacuum of space. Though he does have to hold his breath, which is a fun little detail. Now, for Broly, his best feat is scaling. He beat Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta at the same time. For context, a much weaker Goku fighting Beerus at the start of Super threatened to destroy the entire universe with their shockwaves. So Broly is comfortably in the Universal Plus tier. And at his peak fighting Gogeta, their battle was so intense it was shown shattering the walls of reality itself, breaking through dimensions. That's a low-key multiversal destruction. So let's put it on the board. Highest destruction feat. Broly's dimensional shattering probably edges out Saitama's star racing punch. Highest attack potency. Saitama's casual Jupiter stripping sneeze is insane, but Broly overwhelming two universal level fighters is a more direct combat feat. Durability, both have survived attacks on a similar cosmic scale. Speed, both are so ridiculously faster than light that it's basically a tie. Based on their starting stats, Broly takes it. He operates on a universal scale, while Saitama's best baseline feat are in the multi-galaxy range. It's a huge gap, but this fight isn't about the starting line, it's about the race. And then we're not talking about 10K. This is it. The heart of the entire debate. It's not about who's stronger. It's about who will be stronger in the microsecond. We have two models of growth. Broly's adaptive. He rises to meet the power of his opponent. Saitama is exponential. Once triggered by emotion, his power multiplies on itself forever. So, here's the most common argument for a Broly victory. The Blitz. Broly starts out so much stronger that he could just, end it instantly. One full power dimension shattering blast before Saitama even has time to get mad about missing a sale at supermarket. If Saitama can't survive that first hit, it's over. But what if he can? Saitama has already survived the redirected force of his own multi-galaxy level punch. If he can tank Broly's first attack, that's when the clock starts ticking. And it ticks very, very fast. Fan calculations of Saitama's growth curve based on the manga suggest he can multiply his power by incomprehensible numbers in fractions of a second. Broly's growth is fast, but it has a ceiling. We saw it happen. He hit a wall against Gogeta. His adaptation couldn't keep up. Saitama has no ceiling. The entire point of his character is that he removed his limiter. The graph of his power doesn't level off. It just goes up forever. So the fight comes down to the first few seconds. Can Broly overwhelming initial advantage score a knockout blow, or can Saitama's absurd durability hold out just long enough for his exponential cheat code to activate? Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. A lot of people would just say, dude, Saitama is a gag character. He wins because it's funny. And they're not entirely wrong. The creator himself has called Saitama's strength a kind of gag. He's a parody of shonen heroes who always win, but the story has also evolved. It's given us a serious universe explanation for his power. The limiter break. That is a core part of the world's lore. He's a character with real emotional struggles, mainly his crushing boredom. So, for the sake of a real debate, we have to treat his power as a real thing within his universe. And that brings us to our final conclusion. There isn't one answer, there are three. After breaking down the science defeats the philosophies of these two titans, here's how this fight could end. Scenario A, the Blitz. Judged purely on their proven baseline feats, Broly wins. He starts at a higher tier power, universal versus multi-galaxy. If he's bloodlusted and goes for the kill from the very first second, Saitama likely would not have time to activate his growth. It's a quick, brutal, and decisive victory for the legendary Super Saiyan. Scenario B, the arms race. If the fight lasts more than a few moments, if Saitama survives the initial blast, the tables turn completely. Broly's adaptive growth is incredible, but it's like climbing a steep mountain. Saitama's exponential growth is like being strapped to a rocket. Broly might keep up for a second, but the math is undeniable. Saitama's power will skyrocket past Broly's so fast that the Saiyan won't even know what hit him. In this scenario, Saitama's victory is a mathematical certainty. Scenario C, the impasse. From a story perspective, this is a fight between two characters who are both defined by the concept of infinity. Saitama is infinite power achieved, a man at the end of his journey. Broly is infinite potential, a force of nature that can always become more. It's the unstoppable force meeting the unbreakable object, a narrative paradox. In this scenario, there is no winner because their very existence is designed to counter the other. The fight would be a conceptual stalemate that could last forever. So, there you have it. A quick knockout, a terrifying comeback, or an eternal stalemate. It all depends on how you look at it. But, what do you guys think? Which scenario is the most likely? Let me know your verdict in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next time for another deep dive into Multiverse's biggest battles. SeemlyTuber out. Peace.